will be there in person, Garrett will, to meet with appeals officer James Thrash. For much more on this, I want to bring Jeremy Fowler into the conversation first, our NFL insider. He was standing just a few feet away from this incident when it happened and has been following on the story ever since. Jeremy, what can we expect to hear from Garrett today in the hearing?
Well, Greeny, him being in New York is significant. I'm told he wanted to make a first impression. A lot of times these appeals happen over the phone, but Garrett wanted to show I'm a high-character guy. I'm a player the Browns don't have to worry about off the field. It's just I had a slip. That's my fault. And so he wants to show that kind of remorse in person. Now, the Browns cannot help him with this appeal, but I'm told they are at least hopeful that the way Garrett was provoked in the situation, particularly potentially taking a shot in his groin area from Mason Rudolph. Now, Rudolph would argue, I'm told, that he was grabbing for his helmet, not anything else in the scrum. But they're hoping that that helps Garrett's situation today, and Garrett will likely argue as such.
Is there any way to get a sense of the timetable here? How quickly is this decision expected to be made?
Well, everybody I talked to is waiting, and they think it's going to be either a couple days or as long as 2 weeks, because that's typically how long these things can stretch. But in high-profile cases, we saw it with Vontaze Burfict a few weeks back, they like to respond quickly. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see something by the end of this week, early next week at the latest.
All right, Jeremy, stay with me. I have a few other things I want to talk to you about, and so I'll get back to you. But let me take this to the table quickly, and I got my NFL guys here today, Dominique Foxworth and Jeff Saturday, both heavily involved in the Players Association during your playing careers. So I'll give you the first word here, Jeff. It's your first visit here in person. What do you believe is the appropriate punishment for Myles Garrett, taking into account everything that you've seen?
Yeah, no reduction. I mean, I think this year, it's not going to be indefinite. They'll make it this year, but 2019, including playoffs, in my opinion, it's off the table, right? You suspend him. I get he is remorseful. I do not doubt that. I don't doubt his character. I don't doubt any of the things that people are saying about him being a gentle giant, a fantastic human. All of those things can stand alone. The bottom line is you took a helmet and hit a man in the skull in a fight in football. Listen, I've been in a lot of fights in football games. I've had my helmet pulled. I've been grabbing the groin. I've had all the things that we're talking about happen to me on a football field. When helmets come off as a football player, you know they're off. And every fight I've ever, you know, helmets are off, man, we're done. Like, it's over. There is no, you can't tell me I'm blinded by the moment, all that kind of stuff that's going on. He's got two guys on him who are holding him up. There's nothing. And then all the stuff that happens after that, the melee, pouncing, now he's getting suspended. It's an awful look. You got to suspend him, and it is what it is.
So, I mean, I would be surprised if it doesn't get reduced. Obviously, he will play next season. I believe he'll play next season.
For sure.
Because he does not have a track record of anything like this. You can say he's had some rough in the passers, but this is different.
Correct.
I think that he should play again this year. I may be alone in that, but there's no precedent for a penalty this severe for a guy who has no track record, and a guy, and we've had incidents similar to this. Earlier in this preseason, we had a helmet swinging. You can go back to Hainsworth stepping on the guy's face.
Yeah, Andre Guerrero, right.
No one's ever gotten an indefinite suspension for something like this, and these are players who have committed acts as violent, who also had track records. So I'd be surprised. I think the right thing to do would be to reduce it. As ugly as that was, I think it got heightened because it was a Thursday night game. We were all up in arms, but we're fortunate now that it seems we're not going to arrest him. We're not going to put him in jail for the rest of his life. It seems like most people have backed off of that. So we're moving in the right direction, everybody.
Yeah. I wasn't ever into the category of putting a guy in jail. I will say this. For everything that's happened, that the Hainsworth stomping of Guerrero, on his face, all those kinds of things, this is outside the scope. And I get we've had guys throw helmets, swing helmets, all that kind of stuff. The moment that he did it, there was time in between. He's getting pushed off. The guy's running up, and I get people like, hey, try to grab his groin. Whatever, man. Like, bottom of piles, there's all kinds of stuff happening. Eye gouges, guys getting groin. You still are aware. You're fully aware, and you're coming over the top with a haymaker, man. Bad look if you reduce it, in my opinion.
Two quick thoughts here. One of them, I said in the tease that there's no way that the punishment currently will stand. There is no precedent for an indefinite suspension.
Right,
they will put some ending to it. That's what I meant by that. The second part of this is the circumstances matter. It did happen in a stand.